Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. If you're looking for jewelry that makes an impact on your self-care routine and your style, Empowerography would love to offer you a discount code to one of our exclusive partners, Quartz and Canary Jewelry and Wellness Company. Please use code EMPOWER15 to receive 15% off upon checkout at www.quartzandcanary.com. Quartz and Canary is truly the place where spirituality meets style. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Chelsea Brown. She is the CEO and founder of Millie Incorporated. How you doing, Chelsea?
Hi, Brad. Good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be included.
Well, thank you for being here. I'm the honored one here to have you as a member of the Empowerography community and to have you here to share a bit about your story and your journey. So thank you for taking the time to be here.
Thank you. Pleasure.
So let's jump right in. Chelsea, you wear quite a few hats. As I mentioned, you're the CEO and founder of Millie Incorporated. You're a podcast host. You are the VP of Development and Operations at Clarity Management Group. And then, of course, all of your philanthropic and charity work added into the mix. How do you find time to fit it all in?
Very flattering. I think I do it all with a lot of love from a lot of people, if I'm being honest. I mean, you have a busy life as well. So I think it's hard to answer this one, but if I'm being honest about what it takes, I would say, of course, support from others is so integral, but focus, discipline, scheduling. But focus is a big one. And actually, I visited this topic through another narrative that I was working on, and focus really does come in at the helm. I think it's so important to stay focused, block out the noise, not be all over the place. You really have to have your days organized, your focus there. And most importantly, outside of focus is doing something that you love.
Yes.
So for me, I'm genuinely interested in what I'm doing. And I feel very fulfilled in what I'm doing. And I guess the prize at the end of the day is that we get to work with like-minded people like yourself. Sure. And we get to work with amazing, empowering women and men who broaden our perspectives and who teach me new things daily. So I think it's a combination of, of course, outside support is so important. Family, belief in yourself, and focus, discipline, scheduling is helpful. And then just being genuinely passionate about what you're doing, I think makes it easy.
It truly does take a village.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Really 100%. It does.
Yeah. Can you talk to us about Millie Incorporated? What is Millie all about?
Yes. Thank you for asking. So what started out, I guess, as a passion project has turned into my full-time gig. Okay. Millie is a company that essentially empowers global perspective, compassion, and kindness through connecting women around the world. Okay. And we originally built Millie on women-led sustainable travel and in-person conferences. But COVID happened to all of us, understatement, and it just changed a lot for everyone. And so through this experience, we expanded. So as you know, we now have the Millie podcast. Yeah. Includes speaking with women globally who are making an impact in their communities and abroad. We also expanded to include the Storytellers Essays on Millie.ca, which is collaborating with women, but in a different way. And this is through collaborating with women storytellers through the written word. Okay. And online speaking events. So we really founded Millie based on the notion of human kindness and the thought that with understanding each other's stories, we remember we have more commonalities than maybe we would have thought. And sometimes we don't have access to different cultures who are physically or emotionally distant to some. And we wanted to be part of bridging that gap and creating a solution so people could have this access to elevated experiences, to knowledge, to love. So this is kind of our hope, that people will experience what was once travel. Now it's in a different medium, and then live their lives with more compassion, global perspective, and awareness.
Okay. Now, how long ago did you found Millie?
Oh my gosh. I think so. Publicly we launched in 2018. We did a big media trip, which anyone out there starting this type of gig, I would suggest, that's a really nice way to launch. So we were able to work with the Globe and Mail, actually, which was awesome. Nouveau and some other independent writers. So we did that in 2018, and we launched our first trip in 2018. And we also launched with a large speaking conference in 2018 as well. However, we worked on it starting in 2017. But of course, any entrepreneur knows it's an idea that was planted, years before. Yes. But we officially launched in 2018.
Okay. Now, how did you come up with the name?
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is another question that I struggle with, but right. It's hard, but we wanted to create a name that felt familiar and felt safe and felt approachable. And Millie, there was this amazing woman who was Chinese Canadian who I had a friendship with, and her name was Millie. And I just fell in love with this name, and I really appreciated and respected who she was as a person. And she was full of life and just really cool. So the name stuck with me. And we were actually in a group, a brainstorm group, because I was new at the time to marketing and to understanding your demographic. But what you want to do is name your demographic when you're discussing in your team strategy, like, who is this demo? Who are we talking to? And apparently what I learned at the time was one of the key steps in this process is naming your demo. So I just said, we went back and forth on different names. And I think, and I just, of course, said, what about Millie? Feeling very insecure, but, because it's kind of, it's a person's name. So it's like, how do we, so anyway, we named that project Millie, and then, we thought it would work we thought it sounded nice. So we kept it for the name of the company, and I'm still very happy we did name it Millie. I think it still rings true to what we had wanted to convey.
Were they sold on it right away as the name for the company?
They were actually.
Okay.
And I really struggled with self-doubt. I don't know if any other entrepreneur listening ever had that, but we all have it. So I was very nervous and are you sure it's not silly? But I think the main structured feedback was it's very unique. And it originally what was built to be a travel company, a sustainable women-led travel company, Mindful Travel. My colleague, Deb, just said, Charles, it's actually really neat because you'd say, who are you traveling with? Oh, I'm traveling with Millie. But not, I'm traveling with something adventurous. It's kind of, oh, is that a person? Is that an organization? Exactly. So it was almost, So I trusted the smarter people in the room and said, great, let's do it.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
There is a huge theme here or thread through your work in the way of how much of a champion you are for women and women's empowerment. Can you speak a bit about what those things mean to you on a personal level?
Yes. Women, so what we see around the world, I think, are women often held back for several reasons. Whether it's external factors or personal factors. Up until now, sometimes some women haven't even seen women that look like them in leadership positions. So for me, I've always been curious, and I've always I've been lucky. I was brought up to feel empowered to do anything I want. My mom brought us all up that way. That was her mission. You know, she didn't have the easiest life. So for her, she wanted us to know that we could really be what we want and what we believed we could be. So for me, I already feel myself digressing. I'm like, am I answering your question? But for me, it was so important to build this around women because I want to champion women's projects based around women that is providing access to education that also brings women together to inspire mentorship. That's another big thing that we're doing at Millie, is by creating situations where you can have diverse backgrounds and also age groups at the table,
right?
Really opening the door for mentorship. And I'm a big believer that women should, you know, pave the way for other women, that women need to pay it forward, that women should work to mentor women, younger or older, who need it. So for me as a woman, this was something that was exciting to me. And in terms of travel, just going back to what we originally launched this based on, I think as a curious, independent woman, solo female travel is essential.
Right.
And for me, watching my mother travel the world for work, which she did, she was often in all over. She was London, Singapore, New York. I would see this experience and think it was so cool and empowering. And for me, when we built this project of Millie, we really wanted to make solo female travel at the forefront. You know, get out of your bubble, take the leap, empower women to really see the world in a different way through this experience. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes. Yeah, that's fine. So I got to ask, I mean, I know for me, I have had 12 and a half years background in the corporate world, and I saw a lot of women not supporting each other and not lifting each other up in my time in the corporate world. Now, I know I've personally seen change since I started the podcast. Like within the last year, I've seen that shift happen. Have you been seeing more of a shift in that? And have you experienced that type of behavior or that type of attitude where women weren't supporting each other and women weren't lifting each other up? It was more of a competition. But now, have you seen a shift, if you have seen that?
Yes, this is a topic that I really enjoyed discussing and hearing people's viewpoints, because I think the change starts within the female community.
Right.
It's very important that women treat other women this way, because if we do it with our community, so I'm going to back up.
Sure.
Oftentimes when people feel their back up against the wall or feel jealous or feel like they have to have this competitive competition is good, but when it's negative, that's not good. Or when you're unhappy due to competition, that's when you have to take a look at yourself and realize something's not right. But oftentimes, in my opinion, it's when we are suffering inside due to not feeling like we're enough or feeling jealous or feeling left out. So I think if we can mend that feeling and lead with inclusivity and lead with openness to other women, then no other woman should feel their back up against the wall. Do you know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So it's like, if we extend this to each other, then why would we feel like we have to be negative toward another woman? And I think it's so important, because that does happen with women. Sometimes women feel there's not enough room for all of us.
Yes.
Which is not the case. I think leadership is another big one. Oftentimes some leaders just aren't good, and they can exclude people and create a hostile environment. And there's just, you have to just manage that as it comes. So there are so many factors that it's not just one thing. That's for sure. And in terms of my personal experience, I've been very lucky to not experienced that. I have had, experiences where I've learned from them, and you have to, either it was me not communicating properly or someone that I felt wasn't communicating properly to me, but I haven't necessarily experienced it firsthand, luckily. And I've been able to work remote, which has been great.
Yeah.
But I have heard of it and I've seen it. And I think it is important that, my mom actually says in her corporate experience, it's easy for people to maybe like revert to gossip or revert to crutch when you are awkward, or maybe there's nothing else to talk about. It's like, oh yeah, did you see Sue and her hair? Like, that's just so mean. And let's just not do that. Let's not fill the space with that type of dialogue. And I think more people are definitely stepping away from that. And then the other thing that's actually helping with that is the positive of social media.
Yes.
Because it's access to education to help young girls or women understand the realities of your impact when you leave people out, or when you are negative to others. Maybe in the past, the access to education, which might seem obvious, but for some, it might not be a thought for them. So I think seeing the rise of mental health, seeing the rise of anti-bullying has helped that as well.
For sure. As mentioned earlier, you're also the VP of Development and Operations at Clarity Management Group. Can you talk about your role there and what Clarity Management Group is all about?
Yes, absolutely. So Clarity Management is a consultancy that offers high stakes program delivery and implementation for the financial industry.
Okay.
So mostly in banks.
Mm-hmm.
As a VP, I really respect my role and the learning that I've gotten from my mother, because this is her company, Clarity Management Group, and they've seen global success. She's worked all over the world. I've always been internal, but I've actually taken a step back from my role, which has afforded me the time to work at Millie. I still do some work here and there, but I have been able to really focus on Millie, as that is basically my full-time gig. But funny story about Clarity Management, when I originally wanted to go into the family business, my mom wouldn't hire me. I was in my early 20s, and she was really amazing, actually, when I look back. Of course, at the time I was disappointed, but she was encouraging me to get other experience, and she wouldn't hire me until I did, because before that I was in a different field. I actually studied fashion and worked in London.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In fashion PR. And I mean, this was quite early in my experience. So it was just an internship, but I was pivoting out of that because I realized that wasn't the trajectory that I saw for myself.
Right.
I wanted to do a more serious, not suggesting fashion isn't serious, because it is, but I just felt at the time it wasn't serious for me, and I wanted to pivot out of it. And so my mom, being a very good leader, said, honey, I love you, but you need to get some experience, and then I will hire you to join my team. So I did. And a couple years later, I was able to join the team. But yes, I've taken a step back and I'm focusing on Millie now.
Okay. Now, you also do a lot of philanthropic and charity work. Can you tell us a bit about that work and what organizations you've chosen to work with?
Yes, absolutely. So at Millie, it was very important to broaden people's perspectives, and through that experience different things and different cultures in the world. And through organic projects that I worked on personally, so for example, the PIN project, which really fueled the genesis of the idea for the Millie Travels component to Millie.
Okay.
We ended up including a visit to the Turquoise Mountain headquarters. Turquoise Mountain was one of our partners. And we included a Turquoise Mountain headquarters visit, which would include a briefing by the team in Jordan and an artisan workshop led by the artisans in Jordan.
Okay.
And So Turquoise Mountain. So that was one of the ways that we fueled the giving back component on our trip. So it's really interesting because you can see firsthand, the travelers can see firsthand the artisans working, the sense of purpose that these workshops have given them. Many of them are refugees, Syrian refugees. Mm-hmm. And Turquoise Mountain is an organization founded by His Royal Highness, the Prince of Charles, to revive historic areas and traditional crafts to provide jobs, skills, and a renewed sense of pride. And actually, I believe they have actually built over 50 small businesses in the Middle East and Southeast Asia and Gulf combined. So that's one of the ways that we work with a charity, an NGO, actually to give back. But we also work with, and that's on the ground for our travels component, but I personally work with a social enterprise called City, which means my grandmother in Arabic. Okay. And City is a social enterprise committed to the self-reliance of Palestinian refugees and the displaced community through the production of olive oil soap. And Millie and City have a higher education gift box that is awarding scholarships to displaced Palestinian or refugee women in Jordan. We also work with Al Reme, which is an animal shelter in Jordan. We work with Free Them, which is an organization here, a Canadian founded organization here working to end human slavery. Mm-hmm. And I hold a seat on the City Advisory Board as well, working to provide self-reliance for the Palestinian community. And lastly, I'll say a percentage of our sales or ticket sales for events on the trips is donated. And to date, we've donated or put back into organizations that empower women and access to education. We have that number is over $21,000. So we're very proud of that.
No doubt.
We also were part of working to develop the first female training program in Jordan with Turquoise Mountain. Up until 2019, although Turquoise Mountain has women artisans in their other workshops, they didn't have women artisans in their Jordan one, as it's so new. And we were part of helping develop the scholarship program, and we funded 3 women to go through that program. So we're very proud of this, and we hope to continue funding, and we hope to continue working to create and also bringing awareness to really important topics and really important causes and really important organizations.
I think it's amazing.
Thank you. It's a mouthful, and I'm sorry for anyone listening who found that a little bit fragmented, but it means a lot to us to put impact at the forefront of Millie. And we just hope to, we hope COVID will, I know we all hope COVID will, end soon. Yes. So everyone can get connected again.
Exactly. Here's to hoping. Now, you mentioned the nonprofit Free Them. You do collaborative work with them around the human trafficking issue in Canada. Can you speak a bit more about your collaboration with that organization?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. You are taking me back now to where it all started.
Okay.
So for me, for everyone, when we have a dream, it starts, like I said, years before.
Yeah.
But this year, 2017 for me I just remember floating outside of my body, looking down and thinking, wow, this is the big moment. We really got to see our hopes and our dreams and the passion behind what we want to do come alive. So in 2017 was really the year. It was the PIN project. It was Freedom. I had just gotten back from Jordan from my first trip to the Middle East ever, which was just incredible. And I think within that week, I was off to New York, and I was invited to watch the world premiere of a film called Trafficked.
Okay.
Produced by Conroy Cantor, who's an incredible producer out in LA, a woman producer. And this film was great. It was the second film, I believe, yes, to premiere at the UN headquarters in New York City.
Okay.
And I think the first film to premiere there was Hotel Rwanda, if I'm not mistaken. So seeing this film, Ashley Judd is in this film. It's written by Siddharth Kara, who's a Harvard professor who studied this for a decade. And it's based on true stories. So seeing this film, it really resonated to me that something had to be done. So what we did was we worked with Conroy and her team, and we brought the Canadian premiere to Canada. Mm-hmm. And I hosted the premiere, and we invited Shay Invidiotta, who is the founder of Freedom, to speak to our captivated audience, which was small. It was 30, but we, invited distributors, we invited thought leaders, we invited people who we felt would be captivated in this topic, who would then go on to share the knowledge and hopefully continue to make a Canadian distribution, or, we just wanted to help and in any way we could and make this a success. So that was that. And we invited Shay and Freedom to come and speak. So Conroy, one of the actors from the film, was there, and Shay and myself, and there was a Q&A as well. So that was really wonderful that we had the opportunity to, share firsthand through Shay, who's an expert on this topic. I was not an expert on the topic, so I didn't want to talk on it, but having Shay there and Conroy able to get across this important information was a big deal. So that was great. And Shay and I have stayed in touch. I've been on her campaign every year, which includes a PSA before their Free Them Walk. Yeah. Which is raising, $60,000+ for Aurora House and other organizations here in Canada. And they're actually changing and implementing laws. So they're really creating awareness. They're creating policy, and they're creating direct impact. So it's been really meaningful to work with Freedom.
Amazing. Now, you also, I know you alluded to and you spoke briefly about the PIN project. Can you tell us a bit more about that and how you got involved with that initiative?
Yes, absolutely. I wanted to, this was still, again, around 2017, around the time when I was starting to plant the seeds for Millie and actually put them into action. And I met the founder, who's a woman named Hedwig Alexander, and I joined her team, which meant the world to me because this was my opportunity. We traveled to Jordan. We met the artisans. We worked with the UN, the embassy. And for me, this was really, I think I had mentioned this already, this was really what instilled in the team that female travel will change lives.
Yes.
The PIN project was an initiative that launched in 2017 that built economic relief for this the Syrian refugee crisis, which at the time it's over 65 million displaced refugees. That number has gone way up since 2017. And we work with 7 developing countries, and we raised in 2017 over $130,000 Canadian, creating jobs, opening workshops in 7 developing countries. So that was a very rewarding experience. And I should mention the pin is designed by Canadian designer Jenny Bird,
okay,
who I'm sure your listeners will know. She's a wonderful designer who has an artisan collection as well. So she's very interested in this topic. And I'm excited to share that Millie is relaunching the pin for World Refugee Day in June. So we'll have to share the details with you when we launch it.
Yes, for sure. That would be great. To date, Chelsea, what would you say is your biggest high or your greatest win?
I think this is an easy question. I would have to say creating Millie.
Okay.
Creating Millie has been my biggest accomplishment in my professional life. Having the opportunity to put thought into action, to connect with organizations that are empowering and creating change for women and men, and continue learning and growing from experts in the industry and reaching the community with this narrative has been an absolute win. And I just every day hope to myself that we can keep going and continue snowballing that and growing that and put into effect the vision, the 10-year plan. So I'd have to say launching Millie, definitely.
Excellent. What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
Tough question, but really, really good. I think I have to go with what comes to mind. I would absolutely say compassion.
Compassion, okay.
I think compassion is so important and what can really avoid a lot of conflict and can help us, just talk human to human. And I try to, I learned this from my mother, but I definitely try to lead with compassion and understanding.
It's important. It's necessary. I think even more so now during this time that we're going through, that the world is going through, it's super important to have compassion, be compassionate. Because you don't know what everyone else is going through. You don't know how they're suffering through or dealing with what's going on in the current world climate. So
absolutely. You never know what someone went through that day.
Yeah, exactly.
You could be catching them. And I often think about that. And even me, I think to times when I didn't lead with compassion and maybe judged in the moment or got quick to anger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're all guilty of it. And I have flashbacks and I think I wish I handled myself better because you really never know how you met someone that day.
That's right.
Because maybe they seem rude to you, but something horrible could have just happened in their life. Or maybe they just woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
Right.
Calls you sometimes. And they just, I'm a big believer and I hope to reach this in my life, leave a situation better than how you found it.
Yes, I would agree with that. How do you define success? What does that word mean to you, Chelsea?
This is such a hard question. I have to side again with my mom. I've actually also been lucky to also interview people on my podcast, and I always find fascinating what they say. So I'm going to quote, I'm doing air quotes, my mom, because this is a bit paraphrased.
Yeah.
She says, don't try to be successful in your career. Try to lead. What did she say? She says, try to be kind and give back. And one day you will wake up and realize that you achieved the success that you aspired to when you were younger. So I always think back to that. Any moment when I think, I got to get there, I have to do more, or what I'm doing isn't good enough, or what I'm doing isn't, lack of patience. I have to rush to the next thing. Just calm down and stay focused. Another thing I'll say for me, I'm 33. Oh my God, I just turned 34. I'm 34.
Happy belated.
Thank you. I forgot I'm 34. So I'm 34. I have a lot to do, a lot to experience, and a lot to learn. So I would say I'm very young in my career and very young in my experience and my knowledge of experience. But for me, what I am in my life right now, where I am in my journey, success to me is not comparing myself to others.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I'm building something, and success to me is when I can feel confident in what I put out and not feel like I have to think it's not good enough or, are people going to like it? Success to me is when I can put my work out into the world and let it be and be proud of that. So for me right now, I would say that is what success personally means. And then of course there's outward success, when you see the measurement of a project that we've implemented that is affecting, 10 plus women, the program that we help with Turquoise Mountain, the boxes that bring so much joy. I was able to meet the women in the refugee camp in Jordan. And that's where I love to be. I love Jordan. I think 1/3 of the population in Jordan are refugees. That number might have been up, but it's such a beautiful country filled with people who have experienced hardship, people who understand people, who care. So I love being around those people as well. But especially when we're in, we're at the city center, the city soap center, or the refugee camp, and we can see the direct impact that that something we've done has, that feels success to me, because it's bettering another person. So that also, I'd like to add that too.
For sure. What would you say is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received?
Oh my gosh, what comes to mind? And what comes to mind is, again, from my mother. Guys, she's my mom, but she's also an author and a CEO, and she gives me street cred. Okay. Like, she really knows her stuff. But what she taught me is go slow to go fast.
Okay.
And what that means essentially is when you build the foundation, it might take time, but once you build it, you can grow from there, but take time. So go slow, build the foundation, and then move fast.
Okay.
So I love that.
I like it. What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
I often, when you invited me to do this interview, I was so flattered, and I don't find myself focusing on myself as much. So I had to really consider some of the things that I was going to say.
Yeah.
So when I think about this question, I haven't given this a lot of thought. I have to be honest with you, but I think I feel like my best self. And what inspires me is learning from women who have overcome a lot.
Yeah.
Who remind me that, not that my problems don't matter, but just that people have often had it harder.
Right.
And I think when we can remind ourselves of that, we can then put things into perspective, not having toxic positivity, but perspective.
Okay.
So for me, I think being around women who get up every day despite hardships that they've seen, and they're able to compartmentalize, which is a big one, that definitely inspires me. Okay. Along with many other things. I mean, a good Netflix show is always good. Writing things out, vision boarding things. I'm a big organizer. Yeah. So having everything organized, feeling good in your brain, knowing that all your ducks are in a row. Your bills are paid.
Yeah.
Because that's tough too. We have so much going on.
For sure.
My husband and I are long distance. So I think just being organized, being kind to yourself, everything, when that's in flow, I think you can feel good and inspired and then grow.
Excellent.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before learning it? And what was your life like after learning it?
I definitely think compassion. So just circling back to that, I think it's so important. And also not to be jealous, not to be envious, to be happy with what you have is so incredibly important. Kindness. I think all of these qualities can grow into bad places. So, if you find yourself going down a pathway of they have it better than me, or they have more than me, or whatever, nothing is as it seems, first of all.
True.
And that will only eat you up. That will only take away from your good. So I think leading with understanding, leading with kindness will help you understand where someone else is at. So I guess it's from two sides. So if you struggle from that personally, but more so for me, it was to understand if something happened to me, not to take it personally. They're just going through something.
Right.
Or, having compassion, having understanding, not taking it personally, which is a struggle because I'm a Pisces. So I tend to take things personally, and I'm a creative. But it's important not to do that. It's very important to compartmentalize. So I'd say as well, compartmentalization is extremely important as well. And before I'd say I struggled with, I don't know what I necessarily struggled with, but I would say before if I didn't understand fully the ability to compartmentalize or understand why someone, if I might have taken something personally that I shouldn't have, I would say, that can be very sad.
Yeah.
And that can be very depressing. So I'm glad that I've been able to focus, take things more positively, and accept rejection, accept failures, because, these things are all things that happen all the time. They're going to happen again. And we have to be able to have the tools in our toolkit to handle them for, a successful life.
For sure. What do you feel most grateful for in your life?
I feel most grateful. I don't want to say most grateful, but I definitely am grateful for love. Mm-hmm. I've been very lucky to have a lot of love around me. People believe in me. I think it's easy to doubt ourselves.
Yes, for sure.
And it's important to surround yourself with people who build you up. Yeah. I think, and you have to also do that for others too, but it is important to do that. So for me, I think I'm very grateful for the belief people have had in me, and the love.
Okay. What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Empowerment means being able to do anything you want. That's a very lofty answer, but empowerment is having a wide perspective. Okay. Empowerment means being able to enter a room and feel confident, mm-hmm. feel safe, and open to other perspectives. I think through empowering someone, you are giving them the ability to make informed decisions and take the leap in whatever they want to do.
Chelsea, we're going to do a little rapid fire section here. The next group of questions will be 1, 2, 3 word answer type questions. Okay.
Okay, great.
How would you describe yourself in one word, Chelsea?
Bold.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
Kindness.
What's one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
Love. I have it, but I'd say love is so important, and that's one thing you cannot buy. You have to respect, love. So I'll say respect or love.
For sure. If you came with a warning label, what would yours say?
Oh my goodness. Bold? I guess. Because that's a good or bad thing.
That's a good thing, I think.
It's a good thing, but sometimes people,
I think it's a good thing. If you had a theme song that played every time you walked into a room, what song would that be?
This is another one that stumps me. I would have to say probably a Queen song, okay? Like I'm going to go boldness, or an Elton John song, or a Madonna song. I don't have an exact one, but I'd probably go with a classic rock and roll song.
All right. What is one of your favorite entrepreneurial books?
I don't have one. But I will say my mom, my favorite book for leadership is It's All in the Delivery, How to Move Mountains Without Crushing the Villagers, because it is all in the delivery and how you communicate something, how you convey your message. Things can get twisted in the delivery.
Yep.
So I'd say my mother's book.
Okay. Entrepreneur life is?
Fun, hard.
Yeah, for sure. My favorite way to unwind is?
I don't want to be so boring, but I have 3 dogs and a husband, so it sounds so boring, but cooking at home with the dogs and my husband. That's
not boring at all. That's how you unwind. That's great. Whatever you feel or whatever you do to unwind is awesome. The last book or podcast I listened to or read was?
Goop with Martha Beck, actually. And I just ordered her book that's coming out in April. I think it's called The Way of Integrity.
Okay.
So I'm very excited about that one. So that's my book that I'm going to read next, as well as the Brooke Baldwin book I had mentioned to you that I have coming in April. I'm so excited.
Excellent. If you could change one thing about the world, what would you change?
Just one?
Yeah.
Hate.
Okay. How about we go back to the autobiography question? Do you have an answer?
I know it sounds so silly. Maybe look at her now.
That's not silly. If that's the title you feel would be good.
I'm sure many of us would have that, because we've transformed or grown, and we're not
absolutely.
10 years
it's not
ago.
silly at all.
Thank you.
What is the most recent investment you've made in yourself?
Probably, I would have to be honest and say my credit card bill. I don't have a mortgage. So for me, the credit card bill, which isn't necessarily an investment, but it's honest.
Yeah, for sure.
But outside of that, I am doing a meditation program, the Oprah and Deepak Chopra. Yep. And that's been great. I'm not a meditator. So for me, that's not a monetary investment, but it's a timely one.
Yeah, for sure. It's an investment in you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I'd have to say that. And I'm finding that many of the lessons are directly aligned with how I feel. I'm very surprised. So anyone listening who's considering it, do it. It's 20 minutes a day. It's actually not that hard.
Excellent.
Yes.
If you could sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with anyone, alive or dead, who would it be and why?
This is always a hard question. And I've been giving this a lot of thought in my life because this is a question that pops up a lot. Mm-hmm. And I'd have to say, to be honest, I haven't been able, I will say someone, but I don't know if they're my top answer because I'm still learning and I'm still figuring it out. And I always said to myself, am I wrong? Am I wrong to not have someone that I'd want to sit down with? But if, just to put out a couple people, there's so many amazing women. Amelia Earhart is someone that I would love, Eleanor Roosevelt, the Queen Mother, Malala, Michelle Obama,
lots.
Yeah, I'm just saying, so I don't have just one. And like I said, I always said to myself, am I wrong? But I wonder if
not at all.
Has that thought too, because people sometimes say, oh, this person. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Like one or just that person. So I think I'm definitely still learning within that. But I would say there's so many women.
Okay.
Like Cleopatra would be so cool.
Yeah.
There's just so many interesting areas and topics and women.
Yeah. What's your personal motto, Chelsea?
Right now, where I'm at in my journey, this is different for everyone. Mm-hmm. And I'm always inspired by the mantras I hear by women. But mine, I'd say, I can only be myself. That is my daily mantra. If I'm feeling self-conscious about something I'm putting out into the world, if I feel judged, if I feel not good enough, if I'm putting something, out and I'm having these feelings, I just say, Chelsea, you can only be yourself. And that is more than good enough.
Absolutely.
And no one should feel like they're not enough. So where I'm at in my journey, I'd have to say that is definitely my mantra.
I love that.
Thank you.
What do you think the most common reason for people failing or giving up is?
I think it's very important to have a good support system. And I think we see sometimes people with no community, no support, and no one believing in them. And I think that's horrible. I definitely think that's a main reason why people give up. They don't have a cheerleader in their corner. Yeah,
that's important. It's integral, I think. You have to have, especially as an entrepreneur, you have to have a support system in place.
Absolutely.
The support one is a big one for sure.
Yes.
Without that, you're lost.
Yes.
100%. I would say that would be the biggest one, I would think.
Yeah.
How would you like to be remembered, Chelsea?
I want to be remembered as someone who cares about people, cares about the underdog, even though some people might have a reaction to that word. I think we're all underdogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be remembered as someone who's kind and someone who puts their action where their mouth is.
Yeah.
I hope so.
If you could step into my shoes, what would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
I think you did an amazing job.
Well, thank you.
So many great questions, and I wouldn't add anything. I think it was
Thank you.
Very nice.
I'm flattered. Thank you very much. If you could go back, Chelsea, and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
This is another hard question.
I like to make my guests think.
I think sometimes it's going back to the notion of not feeling good enough, you know? And I think young girls especially can get, I mean, boys too. I'm not a boy, so I don't know. But I have brothers, and they heavily influenced the creation of Millie, and kindness and compassion and understanding. And I just think as a young girl, for me, I would tell myself to just stick to it, stay strong in who you are. And if you feel like maybe it's not good enough, know that it is good enough. And yeah, I think that's what I'd tell my younger self.
I love it. If you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like, Chelsea?
Oh my gosh. I think it would just be, you never know someone's story, and by learning the story, we can understand our commonalities, and that we have much more in common than we don't have in common. We're not that different. Please be kind to one another. Please stop the hate. Although I'd have to spend a lot of time drafting this 30-second speech to make an impact on the world. It would just be based around just what I believe, which is approaching things from understanding and kindness, because I find a lot of hate comes from, you know, not knowing, maybe you really don't know, because some people don't know, that we do have a lot in common with someone who might be from a different ethnic background. So I think we're seeing that in the world, and if I could help spread a message of inclusivity and approaching things from acceptance and love and kindness, that's what I would like to say.
Kindness, it's such a hard concept for people to grasp, and I can't wrap my head around why. It doesn't really take that much to be kind to others. It doesn't cost you anything. And this, you know, this is something that I've thought about a lot over the last while, and it always boggles my mind that we just cannot grasp the concept of being kind to one another. I went on a job shadow with a friend of mine who worked at the coroner's office a couple of years ago. They were looking to hire a photographer, so I was interested in the position, and I went and I did the job shadow for the day. I think there was 7 or 8 autopsies being done that day, and I witnessed one from start to finish. And that experience will always stick with me. And the reason being is that, other than the obvious, but the fact that when I watched that thing and I walked away from that, what I took away from that whole day was, you know what? When all is said and done, every single one of us human beings on the planet Earth are the exact same. We end up in the exact same place. We end up the exact same way. Skin color, religion, beliefs, none of it has anything to do with anything, because we all bleed the same color. It's ridiculous that there's so much hatred because of things like skin color and religion and race and all. It's mind-blowing to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very complicated. And I think, you know, I don't want to comment on it too much because I don't have a political degree, but it's a political science degree, but it's, you know, politics are everything, you know, everything is political. And, and I do believe money, politics, these are all things that are fueling society. And back to what I said earlier about women being kind to women, I think if we just eliminate the feeling of you're going to get it over me.
Competition, exactly. It's community
good,
over competition.
Yes, but we have to build a community where that can thrive.
Yes, for sure.
So it's such a big topic. It
is.
It starts at the top, and so and the bottom. So it's difficult. But kindness is so important. Absolutely.
We have to get back to basics. We really do.
Yes.
That, I think, will make a difference once we are able to, if we're ever able to get back to basics. But kindness is something that's so simple, yet we struggle so much with it. Yes. It's mind-blowing to me.
Yes.
Okay, we got to go back to your favorite quote. Did you come up with one?
I will say one, though. I'll say one.
Sure.
But it's not by a famous politician. It's by a social entrepreneur.
Okay.
Jackie Sophia. She's actually a co-founder of Citi.
Okay.
So I work closely with her. And this is probably why it's in my head, but I actually use it as one of my mantras as well. And it's about building something. And she said, your hope and your optimism have to outweigh the doubt.
I love that.
Oh, I love
Very
that.
Sage advice.
Yeah. So it's something that can just be used every day.
Yeah.
When you're feeling bad about something or feeling like something's not going to work out. Your optimism and hope has to outweigh the doubt.
Love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Chelsea, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today and share your story and your journey. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. The work you're doing is absolutely incredible. It's so admirable. I am fully inspired by what you're doing. I think it's amazing. You are doing so much in so many different areas. I am so inspired and in awe of what you're doing. And I know that you're going to continue to accomplish amazing things. So thank you so much for being part of the Empowerography community and for being here and sharing your story and your journey with us. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you so much for such a beautiful thank you. It was such an honor to be included in your podcast, and thank you for inviting me and being interested in what we're doing at Millie and what I'm doing personally.
I love it.
I'm really thankful. Thank you.
The honor is honestly all mine, because without, and I've said this to many women, but without women like yourself and all the other women who have been on the podcast, there is no podcast. So truly and honestly, the honor is mine that you wanted to be part of the community and be here to share your story. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I know a lot of this is quite the mouthful, but it's all very interesting. And if anyone ever wants to get involved further, we're just a click away. So inviting anyone to be in touch to work with us, or if there's an organization I had mentioned that strikes you, please just reach out. It's much more fun than I probably make it sound. But thanks a lot, Brad.
My pleasure. Once again, my name is Brad Welsh. My guest today has been Chelsea Brown. She is the CEO and founder of Millie Incorporated. Thank you so much, Chelsea. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day.
You too, Brad. Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca. Follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.